There's one executive order you should know about. In his first few weeks back in office, President Trump signed a record number of executive orders. And while you've probably heard of these:
banning transgender athletes from participating in women's sports.
Change the name of the Gulf of Mexico.
Targeting DEI programs.
Withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement.
You might have missed this one, Schedule F. It could completely change the makeup of the federal workforce. And it gives us a clue of how Trump is trying to exert his executive authority. But to understand it, you have to know just who makes up the government. The president only appoints about 4,000 workers, and the rest of the nearly 2 million non-military employees are civil servants, researchers, scientists, people hired for their expertise, regardless of who's president. What Schedule F does is take more than 50,000 of these jobs, basically anyone related to government policy, and place them in a new category where they could be hired and fired at the will of the president. Trump is obsessed with the idea of the deep state, the idea that there's a cabal of unelected bureaucrats that's stymieing his every move. But the idea that the federal government is too big or too bloated has been popular for a while, and has frustrated Democratic and Republican presidents.
A government big enough to give you everything you want is a government big enough to take from you everything you have.
Government is not the solution. Government is the problem.
And we have worked to give the American people a smaller, less bureaucratic government.
Pledging to make our government leaner and smarter.
But Trump is proposing a drastic solution. And it started in 2020, when he signed the Schedule F executive order for the first time. Biden reversed that order soon after he got into office. But Trump made it a hallmark of his re-election campaign.
I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats.
And it's very much in line with other conservative efforts, like Project 2025.
In case you haven't heard, the media is already writing stories about Project 2025 and the supposedly radical ideas, like making federal employees obey the president.
But this is where it gets really interesting. Schedule F isn't just about the ability to fire people. It's also about the ability to hire people. The Trump campaign has already vetted candidates by asking if they believe the 2020 election was stolen. And the Heritage Foundation, the same group that published Project 2025, has already amassed a database of loyal conservatives to fill government positions. That could also have a chilling effect on workers who might be scared to share their expertise out of fear of being seen as disloyal. And the executive order is pretty explicit about that. It reads, in part, employees are required to faithfully implement administration policies to the best of their abilities. Failure to do so is grounds for dismissal. Now, this isn't a done deal. Unions for federal workers have already filed lawsuits to block the order. But this is one of several efforts by Trump and his allies to transform the federal workforce. And the goal is pretty clear. Take a hatchet to government and replace what's left with workers who follow the orders of one man, President Trump.